Hello everyone, this is Bhavani. Welcome back to SSC PrepUp. Today I came up with another important topic, foreign travelers who visited in India. In this topic, one question must come up in the exam. Make sure to watch the video till the end and don't skip it. Without wasting time, let's get started. First one, Megasthenes. Megasthenes came from Greek. Time period is 302 to 298 BC. He was born around 350 BC. Megasthenes was an ambassador of Greek general Seleucus I Nicator. Megasthenes visited India between 302 and 288 BC. He visited the Mauryan capital Pataliputra during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya is founder of the Maurya dynasty. He was described India in his book Indica. This book is very important. In his book, he mentioned that Indian society was divided into 7 classes. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Damaikas. He came from Greek. Time period is 320 to 273. He visited during Maurya period. The ruler was Bindusara. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Heliodorus. He came from Greek. Time period is 113 BC. He visited during Shunga dynasty. The ruler was Bhagabhadra. Heliodorus was an Indo-Greek ambassador sent by Antialcidas to the court of Bhagabhadra in Vidisha, Madhya Pradesh around 113 BC. He constructed a pillar at Vidisha in honor of god Vasudeva. This pillar, also known as Kamba Baba or Heliodorus pillar or Garuda Dwaja or Besnagar. The inscription at the pillar site are known as Besnagar inscriptions. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Hyansang or Chuanzang. Time period is 627 to 643 AD. He visited during Pushyabhuti dynasty. The ruler was Arshavardhan. This person is very important. He was a Chinese traveler, Buddhist scholar, monk and translator. He came to India through Silk Route between 629 to 644 AD during the reign of Arshavardhan. His famous book Siyuki. In Siyuki, he described mainly the city life in India. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Fahin. He came from China. Time period is 402 to 411 AD. He visited during Gupta period. The ruler was Chandragupta II. Fahin was a Chinese pilgrim. He came to visit various Buddhist monasteries and took the copy of religious texts. He visited Peshawar, Taxila, Madura, Kannauj, Sravasti, Kapilavastu, Sarnath and many other places. He compiled a travelogue record of Buddhist kingdoms. His book detailed the religious and social life of Indians at the time. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Icing or Easing. Time period is 671 to 695 AD. He was a Chinese Buddhist monk who came to medieval India 671 to 695 AD to study at Nalanda University. According to him, there were only 4 principal schools that followed traditional Buddhism. There were only 4, which are Mahasangika, second one Stavira, third one Mula Sarvastivada, fourth one Samitiya Nikayas. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Al Sulaiman. Time period is 1850 AD. He visited during the Pratihara dynasty. The ruler was Mihra Bhoja. He was a 9th century Persian Muslim merchant, traveler and writer from Iran. He visited India during the reign of the great Pala Empire. He called the Pala kingdom Ruhmi. He identified Mihra Bhoja, who was a better enemy from the Arab invaders, as one of the greatest Gurjara empires. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Al-Masudi. Time period is 956 AD. He was 10th century Arab historian, geographer and explorer. He was also known as the Herodotus of the Arabs. He combined world history with scientific geography, social commentary and biography in his English publication The Meadows of Gold and Mines of Gems. Al-Masudi wrote his famous manuscript titled Murj-ul Jihab in 1956 AD. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Al-Biruni. Time period is 1024 to 30 AD. He born in Khwarazm, present-day Uzbekistan. He translated Patanjali work on grammar into Arabic authored Kitabul Hind. This is very important. So many times asked in SSC exams. This person also very important. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Marco Polo. He was a Italian traveler. Time period is 1289 to 93 AD. He visited during Pandya dynasty as well as Kakatiya dynasty. The ruler was Rudramadevi. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Ibn Battuta. Time period is 1333 to 47 AD. He came from Morocco. He visited during the reign of the Tughlaq dynasty. The ruler was Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He wrote a book, Rihla. This person is very important because so many times asked in SSC exams, something like he wrote which book and he came during which time. So something like this way. So this person very important. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Sihabuddin al-Umari. Time period is 1348 AD. He came from Damascus. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Niccolo di Conti. Time period is 1420 to 21. He is an Italian merchant. He visited during the reign of the Vijayanagara Empire. The ruler was Devaraya I. He referred to the Telugu language as the Italian of the East. This last line is very important because SSC CHSL 2024 prelims asked Italian of the East is called which language? So this is very important. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Abdur Razak. Time period is 1443 to 44 AD. He was a Persian traveler. He visited during the reign of Vijayanagara Empire. The ruler was Devaraya II. Next one, Athanasius Nikitin. Time period is 1470 to 74 AD. He was a Russian traveler. He visited during the reign of Bahmani kingdom. The ruler was Muhammad Shah III. Next one, Bartolomeo Diaz. Time period is 1503 to 1508 AD. He came from Italy. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Duarte Barboso. Time period is 1516 to 18 AD. And another person, Domingo Peace. Time period is 1520 to 22 AD. Both came from Portuguese. They visited during the reign of Vijayanagara Empire. The ruler was King Sri Krishna Devaraya. Move on to the next slide. Next one, Fernão Nunes. Time period is 1535 to 37 AD. He came from Portuguese. He visited during the reign of Vijayanagara Empire. The ruler was Achyuta Devaraya. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Caesar Frederick. Time period is 1563 to 81 AD. He came from Italy. He visited Vijayanagara Empire. Next one, Antonio Manso Wright. Time period is 1578 to 82 AD. He came from Portuguese. During the reign of Mughal Empire, the ruler was Akbar. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Ralph Pitch. Time period is 1585 to 91 AD. First British traveler visited during the reign of Mughal Empire. The ruler was Akbar. Next one, William Hawkins. Time period is 1608 to 11 AD. Next one, William Fish. Time period is 1608 to 11 AD. And another important person, Sir Thomas Roy. Time period is 1615 to 19 AD. All came from British and visited during the reign of the Mughal Empire. The ruler was Jahangir. Next one, Pietro della Valle. Time period is 1622 AD. He came from Italy. He visited during the reign of the king Venkatappa Nayak of Keladi. Next one, Francisco Fershot. Time period is 1622 27 AD. He came from Dutch. Next one, Peter Munde. Time period is 1630 to 34 AD. He came from British. He visited during Mughal Empire. The ruler was Shah Jahan. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Johann Albrecht the Man del Slow. Time period is 1638 AD. He came from Germany. He visited during the reign of the Mughal Empire. The ruler was Shah Jahan. Next one, Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. Time period is 1638 to 43 AD. He came from French. He visited during the Mughal Empire. The ruler was Shah Jahan. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Niccolo Manchi. Time period is 1653 to 1708 AD. He came from Italy. He visited during the reign of Timurid dynasty. The ruler was Dara Shikoh. He did not return. He stayed in India. Next one, Francisco Bernier. Time period is 1656 to 1717 AD. He came from French. He visited during Timurid dynasty. The ruler was Dara Shikoh. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one, Jean Antoine Dubois. Time period is 1792 to 1823 AD. He came from French. Let's move on to the next slide. Thank you so much for watching. If you really like the video, don't forget to subscribe and also like, share and click the bell icon so that you will get all notifications from SSC PrepUp. We will meet again tomorrow 9 AM. Until then, keep watching SSC PrepUp. Thank you so much.